I am a product of Ward 5. I grew up in the Gateway community, right off of South Dakota and Bladensburg Road. I'm a third generation Washingtonian. I have two older sisters, two younger brothers. I'm right in the middle. I'm a third child. I'm a product of DC public schools. I went to Fort Lincoln, later named Thurgood Marshall, and I graduated from Spingarn Senior High School. I'm a proud Green Wave. I was blessed to receive a full academic scholarship to Delaware State University. For me, it was an opportunity where I discovered a lot about myself. I was able to have so much exposure. I studied abroad in Europe and Africa, had the opportunity to serve as our student body president, and it's really there I started to learn what advocacy and fighting for people's rights were all about. After completing my studies at Delaware State, I actually moved out west. I worked for the Nike Corporation in Beaverton, Oregon, had the opportunity to be a part of a rotational program where I learned different facets of business. My most proudest accomplishment while working for Nike was not necessarily related on the business end, but the work that we were able to do in the community. I've always been a fan of you have to use whatever you're doing to be a platform to give back. I'm proud of the fact that we went into an inner city community and we started the Nike Product Creation Experience. And basically what we did was we said, Nike is a brand that is attractive to youth. Let's use that as a hook. Let's give them exposure, mentorship, where we had students mimic the roles throughout our product creation process. And I'm proud to say that I've formed lifelong bonds with some of these youth. They've went on to college. Now it's starting to inform their studies. And we're teaching them that these things are possible. Dream, aim your goals very high, and work like heck to achieve it. So I had this routine. I grabbed my cup of coffee, I'd log online and go to WashingtonPost.com, and a scary thing started to happen. I was reading about young men who were being murdered in the streets, and these were people that I knew. Folks that I either went to school with, that grew up in my neighborhood, that young men that I mentored that were being killed through senseless violence. So at that point, I really had to make a decision that there was work here to be done and I wanted to do something. So I left my job behind and came back home and got to work. I work in the heart of Ward 5 in the Brentwood community as an organizer, working with folks who want to make something out of their lives, who are fighting tooth and nail. I provide direct services to ex-offenders who are transitioning from prison back into society. I work with young folks who are trying to get in college, who are trying to achieve the American dream. I work with mothers who are trying to provide for their families. Just everyday, real people that are trying to make a difference, that are trying to make something out of their lives. Ward 5 is a wonderful community. It's the bedrock of Washington, D.C. We have both historical and diverse communities. We have institutions of higher education and the largest healthcare providers in D.C. However, there are problems that suppress the potential of Ward 5. We have amongst the highest unemployment rates and HIV/AIDS rates throughout Washington, D.C. We also have serious problems with substance abuse, with truancy. These are issues that rob the life out of our ward. This is my home. I have a vested interest in working hard to make it better, not just for myself and for my family, but for all of us. This is our community.